Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Terminology Tuesday. Terminology Tuesday is where I have a term of the week and I break down what it means and where it fits into the bigger picture that is the sport of dodgeball. And this week's term of the week is opening rush. So today I'm going to break down when the opening rush happens, some rules to keep in mind, and some strategies that teams like to use during the opening rush. So let's jump right into it. So opening rush is going to be the same term no matter what ball type or rule set you're playing. The only difference is going to be how it's done. So now the rule set I'm going through today is going to be the WDBF foam rule. And this is actually the rule set that I've played most of the time with the opening rush. It's pretty much the same. The biggest difference is going to come if you play cloth. So the rule set I'm going through today does not apply to cloth. So first I'm going to just show you a quick clip of what the opening rush looks like, just to give you an idea of what I'm referring to.
And so far,
yeah,
that's
they're proving us right.
Yep. We're off. The Americans a little quicker to the ball, and again, Amezcua.
Throw.
So the opening rush starts at the beginning of every point in dodgeball, except for sudden death. And I'll go through sudden death in a future Terminology Tuesday video. So pretty much every point you start with an opening rush, and what happens is you have 3 balls lined up on the left side and 3 balls lined up on the right side. And the whistle will blow, and then you will rush to the center line to retrieve the balls. Now you can only retrieve the 3 balls on your right side. You cannot touch the balls on the left side. Those are for your opponent. So some rules to keep in mind during the opening rush. So first is you must start with 1 foot on the back line and 1 foot in bounds. And the refs will not start the game until all players in that game have 1 foot on the back line and 1 foot in bounds. Another rule to keep in mind is you can actually cross the center line during the opening rush. And this is the only time in the game you can cross the center line. And as soon as you come back to your side, you can no longer cross the center line. In order to throw off the opening rush, you must clear the ball over the attack line. So there is the center line, a piece of tape for the center line, and then behind the center line, there's an attack line, and your ball must go past that in order to throw. And I'll go a little bit more in depth on the attack line in a future Terminology Tuesday video. And finally, a rule to keep in mind during the opening rush is false starts. So if you start the opening rush before the ref blows the whistle, it is considered a false start. So each team gets 1 false start warning during a half. And if you false start a second time during the half, you actually have to sit a player out for the beginning of the game. And it can actually be any player, not necessarily the person that false starts. And so that player starts out. And so you have 5 people starting the game, and now that player who had to sit out at the beginning of the game can get caught in. They'll actually be first in the queue, but you will start with 5 players. And that goes for any additional times you would false start during the half. So say you false start a 3rd or 4th time. Every time you false start, you will have to sit a player out at the beginning of the game after you get your first warning. So now I'm just going to quickly go through a couple strategies that are very popular on the opening rush with top teams. So first is usually the teams will only have 2 people rush for the 3 balls, just because you don't want 3 people going to rush for the balls, because then it gets a little cramped and it's really easy to get a multiple hit out because they're so close to each other. So you'll typically only see 2 players, and those 2 players are going to be typically your right corner, and then whoever the fastest player is on the court at the time on your team, you'll have them be the leftmost player going for the opening rush. And that's generally because you want to get to the balls as fast as possible. Now, another strategy that I see is really popular is because you can cross the center line off the opening rush, you will sometimes see players slide to the center line since they can cross over with their momentum. So you'll see players run as fast as they can at the last second. They'll slide for the ball because they might get there a second or 2 faster. And for the people that works for, that's great. Personally, I've tried it a couple times and I'm just not very good at it. I'm faster if I just run to the balls, but it's definitely something worth trying if you're newer to see if it works for you or if it doesn't. And then another big strategy that most teams will use is you'll have a player already at the middle, at the attack line, ready to throw. So the leftmost player in the opening rush will rush, grab the ball, and they'll toss it to that middle player so that the ball will quickly clear the attack line because they're throwing it to them. And then as soon as the ball passes the attack line, the middle player can immediately throw the ball and try and hit somebody on the opening rush. And you'll see most teams try and take that early hit because it'll give them a 6-5 advantage in the game. They already have an advantage over the other team in players. So a lot of teams will try and take that quick shot off the opening rush. And I mean, different teams will disguise it differently. Sometimes they'll have a person behind the right corner throw. Sometimes they'll toss it all the way to the left. It just kind of depends on what that team's doing. However, typically you'll see teams take a shot off the opening rush. I hope this video gave you a better understanding of the opening rush and gave you some ideas for some strategies to try out the next time you play. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and drop a comment with any other terms you'd like me to cover, and I'll see you guys at the next one.